25 degrees here today in Cairns, so it's going to be a lovely day. And as we said, coming up a little bit later on this afternoon at approximately 1 p.m, we will have the official opening of this year's show. Good luck to all of our horse competitors competing in our hack classes and our show jumping on Championship Day. The ground has been turned out in pristine condition, the Flemington of the North. Good luck, and we'll take a short break in the Clive Gordon Arena, and we won't be too far away from welcoming our first horse and rider on course in the show jumping ring. So we have our first horse and rider on course in the show jumping ring, and this is Jude Dawson. And Jude's first horse here in the class, and he is riding Flash for Cash. Well, that was Jude Dawson and Flash for Cash, our first horse and rider competing here on Championship Day in the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. 4 faults in that round with the rail down. 4 jumping penalties in total. So number 2 in the draw will be Kaylee Stevens, and she's riding Van Wilder. Well, she's jumping clear here this morning for Kaylee Stevens, riding Van Wilder. All clear. Don't spill the coffee, Jess. Well, it looks like we're going to go with our next competitor. And that looks like it's Kate Little. And Kate is riding Hustling Huey. Well, they make their way around the course. Ravenshoe show jumping competitor. That was Kate Little riding Hustling Huey. So the next horse and rider combination competing here in our Queensland Rural sponsored junior show jumping championship here this morning. We go from one Little to another. We go to Bo Little, and Bo is riding All Spies. Well, Bo Little completes his round here this morning, the first round of the Queensland Rural Series Junior Show Jumping Championship. Unfortunately, we will add penalties with two rails down. One rail down and one refusal, so there will be penalties, a total of 8. Well, don't forget coming up down at the community stage program this morning for all of our early visitors. It's lovely to have your company here on this beautiful Friday morning. The time now is 16 minutes past 9 o'clock, and Dennis Dingo Dryden, an Australian musician and bush poet, will be performing at 9:30 this morning. At 10 o'clock this morning on the community stage program, it will be the Paradise Cloggers, and at 10:30 a.m. here this morning, we will have Dance Junction performing at the community stage. So lovely to welcome Stan and Gwen from Meat Magic, and they're situated down in front of the Jarlis Pavilion on the ground level, and their first show is coming up at 11 o'clock here this morning. So once again, we say a very special thank you to Queensland Rural, sponsoring in our Championship Day. Of course, Queensland Rural, a Rural partner. They operate out of Charters Towers and Mareeba in Queensland, selling weekly at both of those sale yards. Have their office in Charters Towers and as well as Atherton here on the Tablelands. They specialise in the livestock sale of livestock and also rural property. On course now we have Lacelle Haywood riding Little Big Town. That was Lacelle Haywood we watched there with carrying 4 penalties here in the first round of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. Well, once again, we'd like to thank Reliable Radios Proprietary Limited, of course, supplying all of our officials with 2 ways to communicate here this year at the show. So thanks very much to Reliable Radios. So Tristan Pye, Candace forward now, riding his lovely grey horse, Electric Sky. Well, that was Arnott Creswell, our local show jumping competitor, riding Sugar Bag. Winner Chills completing their course here this morning of 4 penalties in total here in the first round. If you've just joined us here in the main ring, we are currently watching the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. Starting height is 1 metre 5 at the height of the fences. 2-round competition, and then our clear rounds will be coming back for the jump off. So our junior riders, aged 16 years and under. Because our show hacks are being judged here this morning by Miss Carl Iskra and Miss Jo Uppington. Both very accomplished show riders in their own right. Had great success at the Royal Queensland Show and Toowoomba Royal Shows and all agricultural shows right throughout southeast Queensland. Because when we speak about a show hack, the show hack is a good performer in the show ring. They must have good conformation, graceful movement and accurate paces. They must be obedient to the rider's touch, well conditioned and neatly presented in gleaming good health. Judges seek a horse with undeniable presence, which seems to be born in some animals or eventually arises in a horse from certain confidence and self-pride. While show horses are not expected to be highly trained in dressage, they will have undergone some basic dressage training to become safe, enjoyable riding horses. The judge will be looking for conformation and soundness. Conformation in a show horse is the correct coupling of evenly balanced parts of the horse, which will produce a magnificent-looking animal that is both second in wind and limb. Manners and paces. A hack should be well-mannered and obedient, but never mechanically. But no naughtiness, biting, rearing, bucking, or bolting at any stage. A hack must show soft, regular, active strides, which cover the ground going forward with rhythm and impulsion. So that's a bit of an outline on what our judges will be looking for with the show hacks. Of course, judging the horse on its merits. And we wish all of our hack competitors all the very best of luck here this morning. And of course, a little bit later on this morning, we will have the judgment of the Supreme Champion hack of this year's Cairns Show. And when we talk about the Supreme Championships, that's all of our champions from this morning will vie for the Supreme Champion hack of this year's show. So this morning we will have the judgment of the Champion Novice hack, the Champion hack, the Champion Show Hunter horse, the Champion Novice Show Hunter horse. Well, when we speak about our show hunter horses, they're a little bit different to our hacks. The popularity of the show hunter has grown over the last few years. The show hunter is a type. It's not expected to have the same refinement as the show hack, but has other attributes which make them suitable for all age groups to enjoy. A type of a show hunter, the show hunter should have more substance without coarseness. It should have a nobler head rather than a fine small head that we see in our hack horses. It should display good substantial bone without being unduly fine. Our judges will be looking for conformation and soundness. The show hunter must be of good conformation and soundness. It should have a kind, bold eye, a good length of rein, a strong, well-muscled back and hind quarter, and a deep girth. Actions and paces. The show hunter must be free and forward-moving in all paces and be straight in its action. But back to the show jumping ring, and of course we don't judge on style or technique or presentation. It's simply if you clear the jump cleanly and have no penalties. And we have Sarah Dearlove from Tolga, and she's riding Me. And that's a lovely round here this morning for Sarah Dearlove, riding Me. As you can see, no rails being knocked to the ground, so it's all clear, no penalties. Well, as we said, if this is the first time you're watching show jumping, you two out there can be the judges as well. Because, as we said, we're only judging the horse and rider if they clear the fence cleanly, don't knock a rail to the ground. If they happen to knock a rail to the ground, they will receive 4 jumping penalties. The idea of the sport of show jumping is the horse and rider combination with the fastest time and the least number of penalties will be the winner of the class. The most even and the fairest horse sport you can find, the sport of show jumping. And now we go to a 14-year-old show jumping competitor. This is Jude Dawson, approaching fence number 1. Well, as we can see, a couple of rails down there for Jude Dawson here on his round of the competition for the Malanda show jumping competitor. Well, once again, a very special thank you to Queensland Rural, sponsoring our championship day here in our show jumping ring. Very special thank you to Queensland Rural, of course, a Rural co-partner. Office is located in Charters Towers in Atherton, and they sell at the weekly Charters Towers and Mareeba Cattle Sales. They also specialise in auction plus sales, paddock sales, and also rural property specialists here in North Queensland. Well, we welcome out our next show jumping competitor from Wollongbar in New South Wales. This is Lascelle Haywood. And Lascelle is riding Darkness. And all clear here for Lascelle Haywood, and Darkness this morning. All clear. Well, Tristan Pye, the Cairns show jumping competitor, now is on board. Jewel of the Crown. Next combination to go. Well, don't forget to make your way down to the community stage, because performing right now we have Dennis Dingo Dryden, Australian musician and bush poet. So boys and girls, head on down there. You'll love to see Dennis, and it's wonderful to have him here at this year's Cairns show. Been coming here to the Cairns Show for many, many years, from down around the Ballina region, I should say, in the Northern Rivers of New South Wales. And don't forget the dog show is underway here this morning, the Lee James Arena. We have our dog confirmation competition. It's just got underway. So make sure you do head on down and check out the wonderful array of dogs that are presented here at this year's 117th running of the Cairns Show. Good work, Tristan, making his way around the course. That was Tristan Pye riding Jewel of the Crown. Well, of course, the Showbags Warehouse is open here this morning too, boys and girls. Make sure you head on over to our Showbag exhibition area here, just to the left of the Dajalas Pavilion. They've got a wonderful array of show bags over in Showbags Warehouse this year. Actually, just while we wait for our next horse and rider to come on course, we can tell you a little bit about it. We have the Scooby-Doo show bag, Birdie Beetle, Batman, the Spider-Man show bag, Frozen, My Little Pony, Space Jam, Power Rangers, and much, much more. So make sure you head on over to Showbags Warehouse. We welcome out now Varley Collins riding her beautiful little paint horse called, or the horse that she names, Cinder's Last Carriage. Well, that was Varley Collins we watched on course riding Cinder's Last Carriage. We'll have 4 jumping penalties. So if you've just joined us here at the Clive Gordon Main Arena, we are watching our Junior Show Jumping Championship here this morning. It's proudly presented by Queensland Rural. And we're getting set to go to Kaylee Stevens from Warragul in Victoria. And she's riding Burnside. Thanks, Kaylee, completing her round here this morning, riding the ever-reliable Burnside. We will add penalties, a total of 12 jumping penalties, I do believe, with 3 rails down. Well, of course, we'd also like to say a very special thank you to Evolve Equipment Management. And they're proudly bringing us the Rooftop Express Brumby Muster that you will see, boys and girls, here in the Clive Gordon main arena tonight, a part of our nighttime program. And also one of our co-sponsors of Airtime FMX Freestyle Motocross team here at this year's Cairns Show. Well, you certainly won't go hungry here on the grounds here this year at the Cairns Show. Of course, for all the meaty mouthfuls, be sure to check out Barbecue Brothers Australia. You can find them at location K3. Please refer to your show map in your show program. We have Calvary Catering, On the Road Catering, Old Style Gourmet, Snits and Gigs, Little Devil Kebabs, and we have Gawley with all the roast meats and vegetables, lasagna, fish and chips, fast fried food, ribs and rolls. So the next of our show jumping competitors will be Cello Stower. And Cello is riding Chimera's Dreamcatcher. Well, don't forget to make sure you take a step back in time in the Seven Cairns Heritage Park. Watch beautifully restored machinery in action and meet the people who keep these traditions alive. From motorhomes to camper trailers, quad bikes to tractors, see the largest trends, technology and machinery, sure to impress the young and young at heart. You can find that in the Machinery Alley over there in the wonderful Seven Cairns Heritage Park. You can also pan for gold, strike it lucky, and pan for gold at the Rocky River mining display in the Seven Heritage area. See a real-life blacksmith in action as they create a masterpiece in the Seven Historical Heritage Park. Let off some steam at the miniature steam display in the horticultural section with an incredible attention to detail. This display always delights both young and old. We have the Gemstones and the Minerals swing past the Cairns Minerals and Laboratory Club exhibit in the Craft Pavilion to discover the incredible world of locally discovered gemstones and minerals. Be sure to check out the Win News Arts and Craft Pavilion. Admire the talent and skills of local cake decorators, from wedding cakes to novelty birthday creations and everything in between. It's a sweet inspiration for all. Well, we're just resetting the course for the second round here of our Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship here this morning. So we'll take a short break here in the Clive Gordon main arena. We'll be back very shortly with our first horse and rider combination to go on course. Once again, folks, it's lovely to have your company here on day number 3 of the 2022 Cairns Show. And of course, this year, celebrating 117 years of the show movement here at the Cairns Show. And, we've got a wonderful morning and afternoon coming up. Of course, the official opening at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Then we've got an action-packed afternoon of entertainment from Airtime FMX right through to our Esky Racing. We've got our Open and Junior 6-bar show jumping championships this evening. And of course, later on tonight, to draw the curtains on this year's show, we will have our wonderful fireworks spectacular. But plenty of things to see and do right around the course of the showground. As we said, we'll take a short break in centre ring, and we will come back very, very shortly for the second round of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship here this morning. So we have on course Ruby Collins riding Bugatti here in the second round of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. So to proceed back here to the second round, our horse and rider combinations, we have taken 4 faults and less. So the clear rounds and our 4 folders. And this round is against the clock. The time allowed here in the second round is 91 seconds. So what that means is the horse and rider combination must make their way around the course in under 91 seconds. Every 1 second or part they're over the time allowed, they will receive 1 time penalty. So that was Ruby Collins, our first competitor out, carrying 4 penalties from the first round. And it looks like we will add penalties in this round of 8, so that will be a total of 12. There's still the jump off to come. So Hunter O'Donnell now is our next competitor, riding Jimmy Jean. They too come into the second round carrying 4 faults from the first round. Well, completing her round here this morning, Hunter O'Donnell here in the second round, riding Jimmy Jean. 12 jumping penalties in the second round, 4 from the first round, finishing on a total of 16. After the completion of round number 2. Once again, a very special thank you to Queensland Rural sponsoring our Championship Day here at this year's Cairns Show. Because Queensland Rural, a rural co-partner, livestock and rural property agents, and their offices located in Atherton here on the Tablelands and at Charters Towers. They operate weekly out of the Charters Towers and Mareeba Salyard's selling complexes. So for all of your livestock requirements, make sure you do contact Queensland Rural. And for all your rural property requirements and sales and purchases, please do contact Queensland Rural. We thank them for their support here in our show jumping ring on Championship Day. That is Queensland Rural. Well, once again, we'd like to thank all of our volunteers also assisting in centre ring here this year at the show. They do a wonderful job, both in the show jumping ring and also our ridden rings. And you can see them in the show jumping ring when there's a rail or a fence knocked to the ground. They're ably assisted with our course builder, Mr. Rob Button. So Tristan Pye is our next junior show jumper to go here in the second round. So he's carrying 4 faults from the first round. And carrying a rail at the first fence, so he'll look to tighten the rest of the round up here and try and move into the jump off, which is the next round, on the least number of penalties he can have. Well, he makes his way around the course, Tristan Pye and Jewel of the Crown. Well, he'll carry 4 penalties in the second round. 4 from the first. He'll finish his first 2 rounds here this morning on a total of 8 jumping penalties. We'll see him a little bit later on this morning here in the jump-off round to decide the winner of the Queensland Rural-sponsored Junior Show Jumping Championship. Well, don't forget, the boys and girls, coming up a little bit later on this afternoon after our official opening. And, of course, our official opening is set to get underway here this afternoon at 1 p.m. here in the Clive Gordon Main Arena. At 2 p.m, we will have the Triple M Esky Racing Heats. At 2:15, we will have the Aussie Chainsaw Race. And then at 2:35, we have the Evolve Equipment and Big Electrics Airtime FMX Freestyle Motocross Team. So Varley Collins is our show jumping rider making her way around the course. And she's jumping clear here this morning. Varley Collins all clear. Said they're carrying 4 penalties from the first round, but all clear in the second round. So we welcome out now Lacelle Haywood from the Wollongabba, New South Wales. And she's riding Little Big Town. So we welcome out now in the show jumping ring. This is Sarah Dear Love riding Mimi, our Tonga show jumping rider. So this is the second round of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. And Sarah is carrying 4 faults from the first round. And safely over the final fence for Sarah Dear Love, riding Mimi. And all clear here in the second round. Well, of course, boys and girls, and we're not too far away from starting our wood chopping competition happening here in our Clive Gordon Motor Arena here this morning. And don't forget to head on over to Melville's Animal Farm. Melville's Animal Farm has all the wonderful animals presented here at this year's Cairns Show. You can find the Melville's Animal Farm at the Dairy Farmers Pavilion. And don't forget to catch the ever-famous duck racing. That's right, we have the ever-popular duck racing coming up at 12 p.m. here this afternoon. There'll be a couple of races at 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., and at 6 p.m. tonight. That's Melville's Animal Farm, and he's got llamas over there, boys and girls, and you can get a llama selfie. So head on over to Melville's Animal Farm, located in the Dairy Farmers Pavilion, but they've got a wonderful lineup of animals here this year. So back to the show jumping ring we go, and it is young Jude Dawson. And Jude's 14 years of age. He's from Malanda, and he's riding Flash for Cash. Lovely to have Jude here at the show this year with his dad Dave and mum Susie and his brothers from up there at Malanda. Well, he's carrying 4 penalties from the first round, and we see a rail down at the Oxa, so a total of 4. Well, don't forget to check out the Ag Venture of the Cairns Show crop displays and learn about some of the crops you might see growing here in the north and how to keep the soils healthy. And in the competition to win a free family pass to the 2023 Cairns Show. So we have 2 horse and rider combinations remaining here in the second round of the Queensland Rural Show Jumping Junior Championships. And this will be the first of the clear rounds from the first round. This will be Lacelle Haywood. And Lacelle is riding Darkness. Well, that was Lacelle Haywood. We watch riding Darkness, just carrying the one rail. So all clear in the first round. 4 jumping penalties in the second round. She'll finish on a total of 4, and we'll see her back very shortly in the jump off. So we move to the final horse and rider combination here in the second round. Kaylee Stevens riding Burnside. Well, our Victorian show jumping competitor, Kaylee Stevens, finishes her second round. She came in on the perfect score of 0. But we will add penalties, 2 rails in that round, 8 jumping penalties. As we move into the jump off to decide the winner of our Queensland Rural Junior show jumping champion at the 2022 Cairns Show. Because 12 months ago here at the 2021 show was young Georgie Coates riding Tiger Bug. The Richmond show jumping competitor was the winner of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. So we'll reset the course for our jump off, and we'll come back with our first horse and rider combination on course very, very shortly. Also, a very warm welcome to all of our Facebook viewers watching the live stream. And thanks very much to Camco Television, corporate and online video productions, proudly presenting our live stream here at the 117th running of the Cairns Show. So we'll take a short break in the Clive Gordon Main Arena, and we'll come back very shortly for the jump off to decide the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Champion. Okay, so we're not too far away from getting back underway with the jump off to decide the winner in the show jumping ring for our Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Champion for 2022. So in the jump off, the time allowed is 51 seconds. So the horse and rider combination must complete the course under 51 seconds, and they will not receive any time penalties if they do so. The fences in the jump off are fences 1, 9, 5, 6A, 6B, 7 and 3. So there's a total of 7 fences in the jump off, and there is 8 jumping efforts with the combination. We've brought 4 horse and rider combinations back. They're all on an equal score of 4 jumping penalties over the first 2 rounds of the class. So all coming back into the jump off on an equal score of 4 jumping penalties. Lacelle Haywood will be the first of our show jumping competitors coming back here for the jump off. And she's riding Little Big Town. We wish her all the very best of luck here in the jump off to decide the winner of our Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Champion. Well, Lacelle Haywood, I should say, completes her round here riding Little Big Town. Coming into the jump off with 4 jumping penalties. A rail down here in the jump off. She'll finish on a total of 8. And we'll wait for the official time to come through. So a time of 34.85. 05, I should say, 34.05 for Lacelle Haywood. And carrying 4 penalties in the jump off. So now we go to the next of our competitors here in the jump off. This will be Sarah Dearlove. And she's riding Mimi, our Tolga show jumping competitor. And jumping cleanly here in the jump off, all clear for Sarah Dearlove, riding Mimi, all clear. So 33.84 for our last competitor, Sarah Dearlove and Mimi. That's the new leading time as we watch Varley Collins now. The pretty little paint horse that she rides. Cinder's last dream. Well, unfortunately, it was a near perfect round for Varley Collins, but railed down at the final fence. So she will finish on a total of 8 jumping penalties. We'll wait and check for the time to officially come through. So a time of 33.49 would have been the fastest time of the class, but unfortunately rails down at the final fence number 3. So 4 penalties in the first round, 4 penalties here in the jump off. She'll finish on a total of 8. So one horse and rider combination will remain here in the jump off to decide the winner of the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Champion. So the leading time to beat is 33.84 here in the jump off. There will be Lacelle Haywood and Darkness will be our final horse and rider combination. Okay, so we wish the Murwillumbah show jumping competitor all the best. Lacelle Haywood and Darkness. Well, she completes a round here this morning, Lacelle Haywood, riding Darkness. Just the one rail down here in the jump off. She knew she had to be quick to try and beat the leading time of 33.84. So it'll be very interesting to see what the time is and whether that will place her into second or third place in the money hole. We're about to find out, and we'll get the time to you very shortly, folks. So a time of 32.78 there for Lacelle Haywood and Darkness. But unfortunately, having that rail down, she'll finish on a total of 8 jumping penalties. Folks, we'll have the results to hand very, very shortly. We'll wait for confirmation from our show jumping judge, Mr. Trevor Hyatt, and we will make the official presentation here in front of the Clive Gordon Main Arena sign very, very shortly. Once again, it's lovely to have your company here on the third day of the 117th running of this year's Cairns Show. We'll take a short break. We'll be back shortly. Well, we have some results coming through from our ridden classes here this morning. Of course, we're judging our hack classes. And congratulations, our Coppin Construction champion novice hack is Miley Russell and Rat Stan. Congratulations, Miley. And our reserve champion, Coppin Construction reserve champion novice hack is Stevie Tognoli with Secret Heart Replica. There's some results that are coming through from our hack ring here this morning for our champion novice hack. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we make the presentation now in front of the Clive Gordon Arena sign for the Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship for 2022. And congratulations to our winner here this morning, Sarah Dearlove, riding Mimi, and had a great time in the jump-off of 33.84 and is your champion for 2022. It's lovely to welcome to the presentation area our show jumping judge, Mr. Trevor Hyatt, and also representing our wonderful sponsors, Queensland Rural, Mr. Wayne Shepherd. Well, as we said 12 months ago, Georgie Coates and Tiger Bug were the winner of our Queensland Rural Junior Show Jumping Championship. This year it has been awarded to Tolga Show Jumping rider Sarah Dearlove and Mimi. Well, we look at past winners, and Jude Dawson was the winner of this championship class in 2019, riding Easywood Bingo. Second place going to Lacelle Haywood with her nomination, Darkness. Third place going to Varley Collins, riding Cinder's Last Carriage. Our fourth place ribbon will also be awarded to Lacelle Haywood with her second nomination in the class, riding Little Big Town. And our fifth ribbon going to Victorian show jumping rider Kaylee Stevens, riding Burnside. In 2018, Jamie Hewitt-Toms riding Get Up and Go was the winner. And the winner of the Junior Championship in 2017 was Semi Joe O'Connor, riding Braveview Stubby. So once again, congratulations, and we thank Queensland Rural for their sponsorship here on Championship Day, sponsoring our Junior Show Jumping Championship here this morning. Congratulations, Sarah Dearlove riding Mimi. Second place, Lacelle Haywood riding Darkness. Third place, Varley Collins riding Cinder's Last Carriage. Fourth place going to Lacelle Haywood riding Little Big Town. And our fifth place ribbon going to Kaylee Stevens, riding Burnside. Congratulations as they parade off now in front of the Hedrick Grandstand. They are our Junior Show Jumping Champions. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we'll take a short break here in the Clive Gordon Arena, and we'll be coming back with our next show jumping event here this morning, the Queensland Rural Under 40 Point Show Jumping Championship. Once again, it's lovely to have your company here on the third day of the 117th running of this year's Cairns Show. Well, of course, all the wonderful things happening around the showground here this year. Don't forget to check out Dennis Dingo Dryden. It's lovely to welcome Dennis to this year's Cairns Show. Traditional storyteller, bush musician and poet. Don't miss this very talented performer on the community stage in Fig Tree area. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Clive Gordon Main Arena. And we have a very special guest with us here in the broadcast box here this morning. It's lovely to welcome Mr. Craig Melville from Melville's Animal Farm to this year's Cairns show. Craig, it's great to have you and the team up here at Cairns once again this year.
Thank you so much, Jake, and it's really great to be back up in North Queensland. It's a wonderful part of the world.
It certainly is, Craig. So how long have you been coming up here now with the Animal Farm?
Mate, must be near on 20 years to the Cairns show, and I've got to sincerely thank the committee and all the members and all our friends in the Cairns region that come along to the show to interact with the animal nursery every year. We know they come from all far and wide just to come and see the animals, and we have to change it up every year, keep it interesting for the children and the adults. We get people come through the nursery twice when they're at the show for the day.
Well, Craig, tell us a little bit about some of the animals that you have on show here this year at the Cairns show.
This year, Jake, we got something special, very unique. We got Kitty's Corner, so we've got a heap of newborn little kitties goats, and they've got an area there where they can play and relax and hang out, and they're constantly entertaining the crowd with all their antics, mate, being young kitty goats. Something always really popular too is llamas, so we splurged out. We've got 5 llamas here in the llama display, and our miniature blue cattle dogs. We've got three generations in there with the blue pups. So as well as all the other cute and cuddlies, we've got little donkeys, miniature goats. We've got all sorts of animals in there, mate.
And you were telling me the other day the llama selfies are proving very popular, aren't they?
Mate, they're going off their head. People, they buy a cup of feed, walk up to the gate, and they just hold their cup of feed over their shoulder, and the llamas will come up and pick it, and they can get a selfie. So we've seen hundreds and hundreds of people taking llama selfies. Yesterday, sent it off to their friends and getting them to come along to the show and do the same thing.
Oh, that's wonderful, Craig. And, of course, backed by popular demand this year, you've got the famous duck racing back here this year.
Yeah, that's my wife's project, Ruthie's Runners. We've been having like crowds of 500 or 600 people every showing, Jake, and we've got some really stars of the field. We've got Justin Beaker, we've got Ductimus Prime, Kim Karkwakian, and we've been having a State of Origin race, the last race everyone too. We've had Wadley Lewis and Andrew Pons, just to name a few of the State of Origin legends, mate.
And obviously, Craig, there'll be a couple of races and then a final tonight. Is that how you work the duck racing?
Yeah, exactly, mate. Right on the money. So we start at 12, 2, 4, and then we have a big final race at 6 o'clock. We had a huge crowd last night at 6 o'clock. They're all lining up half an hour before to get a position around the track, and it was a great energy, and the ducks love it. The more people clap and cheer, the rowdier they get, the more the ducks love it, mate, and they'll run really hard.
So, Craig, where can the boys and girls find you here on this big Cairns showground?
Mate, it's a massive area, so where the main grandstand is, on the complete opposite side of the arena, if they look across, we've got the big Dairy Farmers building. That's where the animal nursery is, and located directly behind that on Heritage Lane is the duck racing, and they've also got Ranger Nick. There's a wonderful display of old vintage machinery from the President Ian Allen, and a couple of other gents bring all their gear in. There's a sand art. We've got the vintage car display. We've got reptile display with Dave and Wendy. We've got pig racing down here also. The guys with Bundy kegs, the Coopers are making kegs. So there's plenty to see in Heritage Lane. So make sure you call past through Heritage Lane and have a good look.
Well, it sounds like a great place to be here on the third day, People's Day, Craig. So looking forward to a big crowd here throughout the course of the afternoon and tonight. And, of course, boys and girls, if you want to catch that duck racing, it's a must-see here at the show this year. Give us those times again, if you wouldn't mind, Craig.
Yes, no problem, Jake. Make sure you're down here. The first race starts at 12. Next at 2. We've got one at 4. And then the last race is at 6 o'clock this evening. And big State of Origin race, mate. There's a bit of rivalry. A few New South Walesmen about. They're really outnumbered by all the Queenslanders.
Well, it sounds great, Craig. And, of course, boys and girls, that first duck race is coming up at 12 o'clock, so in a little over 1 hour's time. But you can head down early and check out all the wonderful animals in the animal nursery down there. And, of course, all they've got to do, Craig, is get a cup of feed and just wander through and pat the animals, can't they?
Yeah, certainly, mate. If they want to interact with the animals, it's always a tip to get a a couple of feeds so the animals have a reason to come over. And something I forgot to tell you too is we got a good friend of ours, Marty and Brenda. I've got some exotic birds. They've got a macaw, they've got a collector's parrot, and they've got a wonderful, colourful little rainforest bird from New Guinea. So you can come down, they put the birds on the people's shoulders. You can get a photograph with the birds as well. So that's something new and exciting here this year at the Cairns Show.
Oh, sounds wonderful, Craig. So that's a place to go, boys and girls. Head on over to the Animal Nursery over in the Dairy Farmers Pavilion and check out the wonderful animals and, of course, the duck racing coming up at 12 o'clock, 2 p.m, 4 p.m and 6 p.m. Craig, enjoy your day at the show. It's going to be a wonderful day here at Australia's largest regional show.
Yeah, and you too, my friend. You're doing an amazing job, and I'd like to say hello to all our friends in Cairns. Come over and say hi.
Good on you, Craig. All the best, good luck, and thanks very much for your time this morning. I know you're very, very busy.
No worries at all, Jake. You have a wonderful day, mate, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks very much. Well, folks, that was Craig Melville from Melville's Animal Farm. We'll come back very, very shortly in the Clive Gordon main arena. So we're back underway in the show jumping ring here this morning, as the time now is 5 minutes to 11 o'clock. And Kate Little is our first competitor on course. Don't forget, Stan and Gwen from Meat Magic will be performing coming up at 11 o'clock here this morning in front of the Jarlath Pavilion down on the ground level. So Ravenshoe show jumping competitor Kate Little is our first horse and rider combination out in the second of our show jumping classes here this morning. This is the Queensland Rural under 40 points show jumping championship. Well, it's nice to see Mr. Dave Dawson here at the show this year. Well, all clear for Kate Little, our first competitor out here this morning. Well, don't forget, the boys and girls, to make your way over to Sideshow Alley. It's all happening over there now. It's all open for business, with all of the best rides presented for you here at the Cairns Show, Australia's largest regional show. And when you've completed your trip down Sideshow Alley, head on over to Showbags Warehouse for all your show bag requirements. What a wonderful range of show bags they have for sale here this year. Well, on course, we're watching Semi Joe O'Connor, and Semi is riding Can I. Well, Semi, of course, formerly from the Ingham region, nowadays living down around the Gold Coast. And all clear for Semi Joe O'Connor riding Can I. All clear here in the first round of our Queensland Rural Show Jumping Series under 40 point show jumping event. So we get set to go with the local show jumping competitor. This is Linda Crabb. And Linda is on board her bay horse that she calls Kentucky Fancy Diva. Well, that was Linda Crabb completing her course here this morning, riding Kentucky Fancy Diva, because this is the Queensland Rule under 40-point show jumping event, conducted over 4 shows at Malanda, Atherton, Innisfail, and of course the finals finishing here today at Cairns Show. For first point, they receive 50 points. First place, I should say, they receive 50 points. Second place, they receive 40 points. For third place, they receive 30 points. Fourth place, 20 points. And fifth place, 10 points. So points will be added to their accumulation from the previous shows, being Malanda and Atherton. Of course, no show jumping this year at Innisfail Show. And next to go will be Mackay show jumping competitor, Dallas Bailey. And Dallas is riding Willark Charleston. Well, Dallas Bailey and Willark Charleston complete their round here this morning. We will add penalties, 8 jumping penalties with 2 rails down. So we get the bell in the background, and that signifies our next show jumping competitor to proceed with their round. And it will be Kelly Buckingham. And Kelly is riding Finch Farm Canetto. Well, there's a lovely round for our Mareeba show jumping competitor Kelly Buckingham and Finch Farm Canetto. Here in the first round, because we have a total of 3 rounds for our competitors to compete here in the Queensland Rural under 40 point show jumping series. So Kelly Buckingham, Finch Farm Canetto will move into the second round on the best possible score of 0. We welcome out now Rockhampton show jumping rider Mark Tompkins. And Mark is riding Temperance. Well, that was Mark Tompkins on course riding Temperance. And unfortunately, we will add penalties with the rail down at the final fence number 10. Don't forget to check out Taste Paradise Farm while you're here at this year's Cairns Show down in the Ag Venture. Sustainable food production in far north Queensland, showcasing a whole range of diverse food crops that have grown in the region and linked to our amazing food network of farmers to manufacturers, retail, restaurants and export. The Cairns Show is celebrating local food and agriculture and highlighting how vibrant, diverse and important our local industries are to the resilience and future of our region. Let's get tasty. Check out Taste Paradise Farm down at the Ag Venture section this year at the Cairns Show. Well, as the time has just gone 12 minutes past 11 o'clock, and you can catch down at the community stage as we speak now, the Backstreet Dance, Backstreet Dance are performing down there till 11:30 p.m. this morning. Following that, at 11:30, we'll have the wonderful Mr. Dennis Dingo Dryden, Australian musician and bush poet. He will be performing down there from 11:30. Don't forget to grab yourself a free Cairns Show guide, and that will give you an official map of where everything is located on the showground, so you will not get lost. There's plenty of things to see and do, from the 7 Cairns Heritage Park, from Sideshow Alley, the community stage, Melville's Animal Farm. We've got duck racing coming up at Melville's Animal Farm at 12 p.m. this afternoon. Machinery Avenue, Ag Venture Farming, the Goats, Bird and Poultry Pavilion. We've got the Lee James Dog Arena, the Horticulture Pavilion, where the New Leaf Flower Bed competition has been conducted once again today. We have the Forcier Fred Mole Exhibition Centre, Indigenous Arts. We have school displays in the Hedrick and Wynn News Grandstand Pavilion, the Visual Art and Pottery Competition and Photography. Plenty of things to see and do, not only here in the centre ring, but right around the course of the Cairns Showground. And looks like we're going with our next show jumping competitor on course as she comes down in front of the big screen. This is Caitlin Staples, our Collector New South Wales show jumping competitor. Lovely to welcome Dad Sess and Mum Kathy and twin sister Heidi here to this year's Cairns Show, and we're jumping clear here in the first round of the Queensland Rules Show Jumping Championships, under 40-point show jumping event. As we said, this event, this series was conducted at the Malanda Show, Atherton Show. Unfortunately, due to wet weather, there was no show jumping at Innisfail Show this year, and the finals here today at the 117th running of the Cairns Show. So we're going now with Stephanie Forrest. So rider on course. Riding Nigella. Lovely white-faced horse that she rides. Plenty of spring. Well, it's lovely to welcome you all here this morning to the Clive Gordon Main Arena. It's a championship day in the show jumping ring. And we welcome all of our hack exhibitors here this morning too. You can see our ridden hacks being currently judged and our ridden hunters being judged here this morning. Because our hacks are known as the Rolls Royce of the show ring. And lovely to welcome Miss Gail Isker and Miss Jo Uppington back into the judgment of our show hacks and hunters here today. And those two ladies certainly know a good hack and a good hunter when they see one. Both competed with great success at the Royal Queensland Show and Toowoomba Royal Shows and shows right throughout southeast Queensland. Because when we speak about a hack, the show hack is a good performer in the show ring. They must have good conformation, graceful movement, and accurate paces. They must be obedient to the rider's touch, well conditioned, and neatly presented in gleaming good health. Well, we look for conformation and soundness. Conformation in the show horse is the correct coupling of evenly balanced parts of the horse, which will produce a magnificent looking animal that is both sound in wind and in limb. Manners and pace, as a hack should be well mannered and obedient, but never mechanical. Maybe no signs of naughtiness or biting or rearing or bucking or any of those bad behaviours. A hack must show a good, soft, regular, active stride, which covers the ground going forward with rhythm and impulsion. And all paces should be clearly defined. Of course, we have our paces. We have the walk, the trot, and the canter. So they're currently being judged as we speak now, and we'll have some results coming through from our hack rings very, very shortly. Well, we do have results now for the champion hack as we speak about our beautiful hack horses, the Rolls Royce of the show ring, as they're known. And congratulations, our champion hack for the 2022 Cairns Show goes to Jody Logley, taking out the championship from Gordonvale. Congratulations, Jody, with her lovely nomination, Davril Fergie. Our reserve champion hack has been awarded to Miley Russell and YP Ratstan. Congratulations, young Miley Russell. And we see Miley and Ratstan also compete with great success in the show jumping ring as well. So certainly showing the wonderful diversity that Ratstan and Miley display. Not only can do it in the show jumping ring, but also can do it in the show ring as well. We'll also be judging our show hunters here today. And when we speak about our show hunters, the popularity of the show hunter has grown over the last few years. The show hunter type is not expected to have the same refinement as the show hack that we just spoke about, but they have other attributes which make them suitable for all age groups to enjoy. The show hunter should create the impression that it is capable of hunting over a variety of terrains all day. It should give a stronger impression than the show hack. Now, when we speak about type, the show hunter should have more substance without coarseness. It should be of a middleweight to heavyweight. The show hunter must have quality. It should display boldness. Conformation and soundness. The show hunter must be of good conformation and soundness. It should have a kind, bold eye, a good length of rein, a strong, well-muscled back and hind quarter, and a deep girth. Actions and paces. The show hunter must be free and forward-moving in all paces and straight in its action. And sometimes in our workouts, the show hunter hacks are asked to jump over jumps. Of course, we go back to the hunting days in England where they would chase the hounds and jump fences, and sometimes there are jump courses set up for show hunters, but it's not required in all workouts. The workout for this class should be free-flowing and forward-moving, with the horse covering the ground with all of its paces, being the walk, the trot, and the canter. So that's just a little bit of an idea on how we judge our hack ring. But as I said, in our show jumping ring, we don't judge on style, we don't judge on presentation. It's just simply if they clear the fence. And we welcome out now into the Clive Gordon show jumping ring. This is Phil Stevens, and Phil and his daughters Kaylee and Alyssa have travelled up from Warrigal in Victoria. They commence their show jumping run here on the Queensland show jumping circuit at this year's Rockhampton show. And competed at Rockhampton, Pioneer Valley, Mackay, Showwit Sundays at Proserpine, the Burdekin Show, and Brown Malanda Atherton back into Cairns here this week. Phil said these horses have absolutely excelled since they've got up into the warmer climate here in North Queensland. And it's exactly 20 years since Phil last attended the Cairns Show back in 2002. Thanks, Phil, completing his course here in the first round of the Queensland Rural Series. Of course, this is the finals, a series that has been conducted at the Malanda Show, Atherton Show, and now the finals being conducted here at Australia's largest regional show. That's right, the Cairns Show is Australia's largest regional show. So Jermaine Regato and Wywalt Sky High. Our final combination here in the first round of the Queensland Rule Show Jumping Finals, under 40 point Show Jumping Championship. Well, that will complete the first round of our Queensland Rural Show Jumping Series. We'll come back with the second round very shortly. We'll lift our fences up and we'll come back with our first horse and rider on course very, very shortly. But once again, folks, it's lovely to welcome you here to the third day of the 117th running of the Cairns Show. We trust that you're having a lovely morning so far here at the show. Of course, plenty of things to see and do. The official opening is coming up at 1 o'clock. We'll have our horse and animal parade also at 12:30 here today. And the time now is 24 minutes past 11 o'clock. Well, don't forget, boys and girls, coming up at 12 o'clock at the Animal Nursery at Melville's Animal Farm, we will have the official first race in the duck racing. So make sure you do head on over there and check out the wonderful duck racing. There's a couple of races here today. We've got 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and the final race here tonight will be at 6 p.m. So we'll be back very shortly with the second round of the Queensland Rural Under 40 Point Show Jumping Championship here this morning. Okay, so we're getting set to go with our first horse and rider making their way onto the course for the second round of the Queensland Royal Under 40 Points Show Jumping Championship here this morning. So the first of our four folders, we have two horse and rider combinations that will go first, carrying 4 faults from the first round, and then after that we will have all of our clear rounds. So Phil Stevens riding Talara Carrico, carrying 4 faults from the first round, on course now. Well, Phil Stevens completes his round, riding Talara Carrico. So 8 jumping penalties for Phil Stevens. And what's the time allowed? So time allowed is 89 seconds, and we had a time of 19.50, so a total of 2 time penalties. So 8 jumping penalties, 2 time penalties, total of 10 in that round, carrying through from the 4 in the first round, finishing his first 2 rounds on a total of 14 penalties. Now we have Jermaine Regato. She also carries 4 faults from the first round. Riding My Walt Sky High. So 12 jumping penalties for Jermaine Regato and Why Walt Sky High, and 4 from the first round, finishing on a total of 16. Total of 1-6. Okay, so this will be the first of the clear rounds coming forward. This is Kate, is it? And she's riding Luna Larrikin. First of our clear rounds from the first round here in the second round of the Queensland Rural Under 40 Point Show Jumping Championship. Well, that was Ravenshoe show jumping competitor Kate Little here in the second round of our class we're currently watching. Well, I'm afraid we will add penalties. I do believe we may add 12 penalties there in that round. So 0 penalties in the first round, but finishing the second round on a total of 12. 16 faults, 16 faults in total. Well, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, coming up at 12:30 this afternoon, we will have our Grand Animal Parade. At 1 o'clock, we will have the official opening of the 2022 Cairns Show. At 2 p.m, we will have the Triple M Esky Racing Heats. At 2:15, we will have the Aussie Chainsaw Race. 2:35, Big Electrics and Evolve presents Airtime FMX. At 5 minutes to 3, it'll be the Evolve Equipment Management presenting Rooftop Express Brumby Muster. And at 3:15 p.m, we will have our 6-bar competitions for our Junior and Open 6-bar Championship. So that's all coming up in the Clive Gordon Main Arena here this afternoon. As the time approaches 12 o'clock, the current time now is 11:38. And don't forget, coming up at 12 p.m. at Melville's Animal Farm at the Animal Nursery, we will have the duck racing, the first of the duck racing for the third day of this year's Cairns Show. Duck racing today at 12, 2, 4 and 6 p.m. So make sure you do make your way over to the Dairy Farmers Pavilion and check out the wonderful duck racing that'll be on offer here from Melville's Animal Farm. And there's pig racing also over there. Nora Gilmore's over there with the wonderful pigs and plenty of things to see in the 7 News Heritage Display. Take a look down Machinery Avenue. So plenty of wonderful things to see and do over there. And while you're over that way, you're very close to Sideshow Alley, so you can make your way around to Sideshow Alley, boys and girls. And then when you're coming back from Sideshow Alley, head on down to our Showbags warehouse down in our exhibition area. And check out and have a look at the wonderful brands of show bags that are on offer here this year at Australia's largest regional show, the Cairns Show. Be sure to say good day and check out all of our independent traders that are situated right around the showgrounds as well here this year. Well, I do believe it's Semi Joe O'Connor on course in the show jumping ring. So she's riding Kenai, and this horse and rider combination are currently leading our Queensland Rural Series as the competition stands at the moment. And she's all clear here in the second round. Semi Joe O'Connor riding Kenai. All clear. Well, as we can see now, currently being judged in ring number 2, we're judging our pleasure hack class. Well, of course, our pleasure hack's to be ridden in a snaffle bit. And you can see our competitors only have one hand on the rein. So the judge looking for a nice, smooth, easy-going horse. Nice and calm, very correct. And Miss Gail Iskra down there judging our pleasure hack here this afternoon. Well, this morning it hasn't quite gone 12 o'clock as we speak at the moment. Back to the show jumping ring we go. It's Caitlin Staples on course from Collector in New South Wales. Riding Emerville Amigo. Well, that's a lovely round for our New South Wales show jumping rider, Caitlin Staples and Emerville Amigo. Just the one rail down, so 4 penalties will be added. She completed the first round on 0 penalties, completing her second round on 4 jumping penalties. Because straight after this round, we will have the jump off to decide the winner of the Queensland Rural Series. As we said, this series has been conducted at Malanda Show, Atherton Show, points accumulated, and here they are in the finals this morning. And it now is Linda Crabb. She sits well up there in the leaderboard in the series as it stands. And she is riding Kentucky Fancy Diva. Thanks, Linda. That was Linda Crabb on course, riding Kentucky Fancy Diva. Total of 8 penalties in the second round. So Kelly Buckingham and Finch Farm Canetto, this horse and rider combination with the winner of the Queensland Rural Series here 12 months ago. They won the Invitational Masters show jump here last night. And coming into the second round on the perfect score of 0. Well, jumping clear here this morning for Kelly Buckingham, riding Finch Farm Canetto. Back-to-back clear rounds in the competition. Well, once again, we thank the team from Queensland Rural, of course, sponsoring our show jumping here on Championship Day. Queensland Rural, you can find them on their website, www.queenslandrural.com.au. But for all your livestock sales and purchasing requirements, make sure you do contact Queensland Rural. Also, Rural Property Specialist have offices based at Atherton here on the Tablelands, and their head office is located in Charters Towers. They operate weekly in the cattle sales at Charters Towers and Mareeba. So please make sure you do contact Queensland Rural for all your livestock and rural property requirements. It's great to have representing Queensland Rural here this year at the Cairns Show, Mr. Wayne Shepherd. And we thank Queensland Rural for the sponsorship here on Championship Day in our show jumping ring. So it looks like we're going to come back to the jump off very, very shortly in the show jumping. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break here in the Clive Gordon Main Arena, and we'll be back very shortly. Okay, so we're coming back for the jump off to decide our Queensland Rules Show Jumping Championship for 2022. So we have two horse and riders coming back here into the jump off on the perfect score of 0. They've jumped clear in the first 2 rounds here this morning. Time allowed is 48 seconds here in the jump off. They must jump the course under or right at 48 seconds to not receive a time penalty. And we welcome out our first competitor, Semi Joe O'Connor, riding Can I. Thanks, Semi. That was Semi Joe O'Connor riding Can I. They'll finish on a total of 8 penalties with 2 rails down here in the jump off. We'll wait for the official time to come through.
Do you want her time, Joe?
Yeah, that'd be good, thanks.
35.17, and as you said, 8 fault.
So a time of 35.17 for Semi and Can I. So we come down to the last horse and rider combination here in the finals this morning as the time is approaching 12 o'clock. So it'll be Kelly Buckingham and Finch Farm Canetto. So they too come into the jump off on the perfect score of 0. We wish them all the very best of luck as they tackle this course here in the jump off. And all clear for Kelly Buckingham, riding Finch Farm Canetto, all clear.
So as you saw, Jake, it was a clear round at 41.52, so no time fault. She's the winner.
So a time of 41.52, and there's your winner of the Queensland Rural Show Jumping Championship here this morning, Kelly Buckingham, and Finch Farm Canetto will be your winner. I do believe Semi Joe O'Connor and Can I will be our second place getter, but we will await confirmation from our show jumping judge, Mr. Trevor Hyatt, and we will make the official presentation very shortly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we make the presentation now for the Queensland Rural Under 40 Points Show Jumping Championship class here this morning. And congratulations, our winner, Kelly Buckingham, taking out first place with 3 clear rounds and a time in the third and final round of 41.52. Congratulations, Kelly. And once again, it's lovely to welcome into the presentation area, representing Queensland Rural, Mr. Wayne Shepherd, and our show jumping judge, Mr. Trevor Hyatt. We thank Queensland Rural, our sponsors here on Championship Day in our show jumping ring. Of course, for all your livestock and rural property requirements, make sure you do contact Queensland Rural, with their offices located in Charters Towers and Atherton, and they operate out of the Charters Towers and Mareeba Sale Yards weekly. In second place goes to Gold Coast show jumping competitor Semi Jo O'Connor, riding Kenai. Congratulations, Semi. She's having a wonderful show here in 2022. Her and her partner Mitch, and of course third place going to New South Wales rider Caitlin Staples, 18 years of age, riding Emma Villamigo. She's been on the show circuit now since the month of March, travelling right throughout New South Wales, competing at the Sydney Royal Easter Show, and coming up through Gundawindi, Ipswich, and right up to the Cairns Show here this year. She's in third place, and Dad Sess and Mum Kathy and twin sister Heidi joining us here this week at the Cairns Show. In fourth place, going to local show jumping rider Linda Crabb. Congratulations, Linda, riding Kentucky Fancy Diva. And our fifth place ribbon will be awarded to Gippsland Victorian show jumping rider Mr. Phil Stevens. It's wonderful to have Phil and his 2 daughters, Alyssa and Kaylee, here at this year's show, all the way from Warragul in Victoria. And he takes out the fifth place ribbon. So once again, congratulations to our riders. Kelly Buckingham here last night won the Invitational Masters. She rides a Finch Farm bred horse, of course, a Finch Farm stud down at Toowoomba in Queensland, owned by best David Finch. So boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, as they parade off now in front of the Hedrick Grandstand, please give them a big round of applause, your show jumping champions here this morning. Well, we'll be coming back very shortly with the next of our show jumping events here, and it will be the Fred Mole Memorial Grand Prix show jumping event. That will be our next show jumping event happening in the Clive Gordon show jumping arena. Don't forget, we will have the judgment and the announcement of our Supreme Champion hack of the 2022 Cairns show coming up very shortly. Just before the Grand Parade, we will have the official Grand Parade coming up at 12:30 p.m. Following the Grand Parade, we will have the official show opening, and the show opening is scheduled to get underway at 1 o'clock here in Centre Ring. Following the official show opening, we'll be back at 2 p.m. for the Triple M Esky Racing Heats, and at 2:15 p.m. here in Centre Ring, we will have the Aussie Chainsaw Race, and at 2:35 p.m. it will be the Big Electrics and Evolve Equipment Management presenting Airtime FMX. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's lovely to welcome you all here this morning to the Clive Gordon Main Arena. And this is the 117th running of this year's Cairns Show. On behalf of the Cairns Show Society and Show Society President, Mr. Ian Allen, we wish you a very, very good afternoon here in Centre Ring, and enjoy your day at the show. And, of course, we've got some wonderful nighttime entertainment coming up for you as well. And Sideshow Alley is all open, boys and girls, so make sure you head on over to Sideshow Alley. And also, while you're here at the show, check out Show Bags Warehouse. What a great variety of show bags they have for sale here at this year's Cairns Show, Australia's largest regional show. we'll take a short break in the Clive Gordon Main Arena, and we'll be back very, very shortly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, just while we have a short break here in Centre Ring, it's lovely to welcome to the broadcast box Vice President of the Cairns Show Association, Mr. Lee James. Lee, it's lovely to have you here in the broadcast box this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks, Jake, for the welcome. The show has been going very well for us in the competitions, and we haven't had really many teething problems at all this year. It's gone really, really well. We've had some good numbers, plenty of horses. We've had a record entry in the dairy cattle. Stud cattle's been good. We've got in the poultry, we've got great numbers over there. So all in all, it's through the competitions, and particularly the livestock side, I'm very pleased with it.
Well, we see everything, costs and diesel and all that going up, so our competitors, it costs a lot of money to get to the shows now, but it's wonderful they've come out and supported this show. And Lee, I'd just like to congratulate you and the committee and the ground staff here. I've been complimented by a lot of the show jumping riders and horse competitors here this week, just how good that ground's turned out in here this year for the show.
Yeah, the grounds are looking a picture this year, and our ground staff have done a good job looking after them. And even though some of the shows around weren't too happy about that recent rain, I think it'd give us a nice kick along with the grass surfaces. And it is really looking a picture this year.
Well, Lee, to put on Australia's largest regional show, it's a big team, isn't it? There's a big committee.
Yes, we have a fairly large committee. We have a committee of 37. Within that, there's an executive and a management committee. But we've been following along that line for many years, and it's always worked quite well for us.
Now, the stud cattle, tell us a little bit about the stud cattle this year. I haven't got down there, but good numbers once again.
Yeah, and a good variety. We've had drought masters, Murray Greys, limousines. We've had quite a good lineup of breeds down there, and the same with the dairy. We've had some of the older exhibitors have come back to us again. We've introduced Guernsey cattle back again this year, which we haven't had for quite some time. So
it's wonderful to see the beef cattle and the dairy cattle. A lot of shows you go to, there's only probably mainly only the beef cattle now, but it's wonderful to see the one complements each other, don't they?
It does, and as one of the cattle exhibitors said to me the other day, it was good to see so many there. He said because show patrons don't come along to look at empty stalls, and he's quite correct.
Yeah, no, that is correct, and I congratulate you and the committee. Of course, Ian Muller-Nielsen, speaking to him throughout the course of the show, and everybody goes around and touches base with everybody, because at the end of the day, it's all about communication, isn't it?
It certainly is, and that's the key to it all. And you know, we keep in touch with one another constantly, and you know, if we've got any little hiccups, we can relay them and to the right people, and yeah, we keep in touch, and communication is the key.
And one thing I see here in Centre Ring with our horse classes, Lee, great numbers of young junior riders, isn't there, this year at the show?
Yeah, and it's good to see them come back. The Pony Club is not in the strength it normally is, but you know, we've lost some numbers across areas total because people are still afraid of COVID and that, and it's still having an effect on us, you know. So
now, Lee, you've been heavily involved with the dog industry for many, many years and showing dogs, and can you tell us a little bit about the dog shows on today, isn't it?
Yes, it is. There's reasonable numbers there today. We've got a couple of judges there, one from Adelaide and one from Melbourne, that are doing the honours over there today. And we also, the Kennel Club run shows on the weekend as well, and that makes the entries for the whole 3-day period a lot more attractive, because some of those people travel pretty far and wide, you know, as far as Mackay and Townsville, and you know, so.
I was about to say they're a bit like the horse industry. They travel long distances to come up and show their dogs here at Cairns, don't they?
Yeah, and it's getting more expensive for people to travel, and you know, as one of the dairy exhibitors said, you know, it costs him $6,000 to prepare and travel to a show, you know, so it's not cheap, and the same with horses. And
you know, it all adds up to a lot of money. But as you sit up here in the wonderful view here in this broadcast box, Lee, it's just a wonderful sight across this main ring, isn't it? You know, Sideshow Alley in the backdrop, and you know, the wonderful show jumping and horses in Centre Ring.
Yep, and this is what we work for, and we spend so much time and effort to see this. And you know, I've had people say to me, when do you start preparing for the show each year? And I said, the day after this one finishes.
I was about to say, you'll start planning probably on Saturday, won't you?
Yep.
Hey, Lee, it's been wonderful to have you in the broadcast box. We've got a wonderful afternoon coming up. We've got the official opening. We've got the Grand Parade coming up also here in Centre Ring, and wonderful entertainment right throughout the course of the afternoon. But look, I hope you get a chance to sit down and take it all in here this afternoon, because with all your tireless work, we congratulate you and thank you for all your efforts. And I know all of our horse competitors and dog exhibitors thank you as well. And it's been wonderful to have you here in the broadcast box this afternoon.
Thank you, Jake. And of course, with this afternoon's entertainment, we mustn't forget my favourite event is the 6 Bar, which is on later.
It's everybody's favourite, I think, Lee, and it's a great entertainment, and we'll see the best, because we've got junior and open 6 Bar, haven't we?
Yep. Yeah. Thank you.
Good idea. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, there's Mr. Lee James, Vice President here at the Cairns Show Association. He's joined us in the box here this afternoon, but right now we'll take a short break, I should say, in the Clive Gordon Main Arena, and we'll be back very, very shortly.